gotta get everything just like I want it.
Is everything like you want it?
I'm getting there.
Welcome to this episode of The Marriage Creative. We are a happy family with one really big story, and we want to help you grow, strengthen, and rekindle your marriage.
Hey, welcome back to The Marriage Creative Show. I'm Caleb Nelson, and that's my wife.
Carla?
That's right. And we're back this week for another adventure, and who knows telling what.
Yeah. Who knows what we might talk about.
Yeah.
But at least we're not dragging in this time. That's an improvement.
No, we're just an hour and a half before posting.
But we're not like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired.
We do have a little more energy today.
Yeah. We feel energized.
We don't have two kids at home.
No. We should be more tired.
No, that's true.
No.
You're a little more needy than the other ones. They're just younger. They need to be entertained more.
They've done good entertainment.
I wasn't complaining.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Really good.
Yeah, they have been great. Everybody's great. Got about a week left of camp. So, I'll have to think about that for next week's podcast episode. All right. Yeah. So here we are. This is the Marriage Creative Show. I'm Caleb Nelson. That's my wife, Carla. Been married for over 23 years. Got 5 kids. And if you haven't listened, and maybe this is your first time, we're very just who we are. So don't expect anything personally. If this is not your taste, it's okay. Come back. It'll be the same next time. But we appreciate you coming by and giving it a shot.
Yeah, it's the real deal.
And who was it? Happy Hair 123. Thank you for your review on iTunes. That was very kind. Really appreciate that. And I like your username, whomever you are.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. So, what's happening in the world? What are we going to talk about this time? Sex or what? No, just kidding, guys.
I was like,
all the men just got really excited for a minute, and I'm just kidding.
I'm like,
nah.
what?
I've only waited like 17 shows to say that out loud, so
You've been holding out?
Not this time. Yeah, I got to get my notes together on that one.
Okay.
So yeah, I want to be prepared.
Yeah, how about inform me before you throw something like that?
Yeah,
at
you
me?
all should have seen her face. It was pretty good. So
I was like, what?
this is this. She just actually got home from work, and we've spoken for about 30 minutes. So it's kind of typical in that aspect of us coming in for the show. Enough about us. What's our topic tonight?
Well, we're always talking the kingdom.
Absolutely, that's what we're here for.
That's the topic, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Me too.
Kingdom marriage.
Walking in the kingdom, living in the kingdom,
living
for the kingdom.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Choose C. I like it. Okay, well, we are citizens of his great kingdom, and we're joint heirs with Christ, so we are kingdom kids.
Mm-hmm.
I guess is the best. Prince and princesses in the kingdom we are. We're a little deep the last time, and the last couple of shows have been a little deep here and there at places.
Well, when you're tired, you kind of just...
You get down in the mud?
I guess. You don't have the fluff. You just get like right down.
Here we are.
Get to the point, I guess.
So we were talking on the road, on the drive. It's like 6 minutes up here to the former bedroom, now studio. And one of the things I didn't mention in an idea for the show was I spoke to a friend today. Since we haven't had a chance to talk, I spoke to a friend today. Recently had surgery. It went well. She's in good shape. She's been a smoker for a very long time. Still a smoker. Like a closet smoker. But a smoker nonetheless. Now, I'm not judging because I smoked for years. And she said, Kel, I can't tell you how many times.
Caleb?
She still calls me Kel. She hasn't listened to the show yet. She doesn't know I've changed my name.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you.
Okay. So she said, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to the front of the church and asked God to take this from me, to take this addiction from me. I understand that. But then I just put it right back to her and asked her a simple question. If she's listening, I'm not making like fun of you here. I'm just sharing with my wife the conversation we had earlier. But I just asked her right back, well, have you asked him to take it from you? And she said, yes, every time I ask him to take it from me. I said, well, have you tried to give it to him? Have you tried to hand it to him? Instead of asking him to take it from you, are you willing to give it up and give it to him? You know, like some people say, let go and let God. That was a thing back in the 80s, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
And it just struck me as we were in that conversation. I can remember in times past dealing with things I dealt with and the addictions and whatever I lived through. I can remember being like, oh God, if you just take this away from me, I wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. But I don't look at it that way anymore. Now, I understand God will do that. But he also tells us what we bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and what we loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. So, not to pick on her or anybody else that's dealing with anything like that, I just thought this might just toss this out here for a few minutes and see, bounce it off you, see what you think about it. Sometimes we're holding on to stuff, waiting on God to take it from us, when God's actually wanting us to let it go.
Well, there's also a lot of times that he's wanting to get things to us that I think he's waiting on us to take.
Mm-hmm.
And we're constantly asking him to give. And he's like, it's right here.
So it goes
like,
both ways.
Yeah. You're going to have to take it.
Mm-hmm.
So I
like
think,
you can't receive with a closed hand.
Yeah. I think sometimes we're praying for him to give us something that he's already given us. We just don't know how to take it.
Or we're asking him to take something from us that he's already removed if we'll just let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It's like paradoxical.
Well, it's like I told you about raising your hands. He showed me this week, back to a conversation with a friend and them saying, you know, well, I don't know how comfortable I am with like raising my hands during
I'll
worship.
stop you right there real quick. I need a button in here that like plays a sound effect when you start talking about charismatic stuff. That would be funny.
No.
Keep going.
Well, you'd be buzzing me all the time.
Well, it would be funny. I think it would anyway, I like humor.
So, I'm like, well, what's uncomfortable about that? Raising your hands. Like, I mean,
You're talking about in worship or in prayer
Yeah.
or whenever.
why wouldn't you? It was just, they were like, well, it's just not how I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it got me thinking, why do we do it then? I mean, like for me, I always thought of it as sort of a type of surrender almost. And so I prayed about it this week. And I was like, Lord, what is it surrender? What is it? What do you call it? Like I wanted his opinion. Mm-hmm. And he was quick to respond. And he said, it's how you transmit and receive. Your arms are literally like an antenna. And
I married a ham radio operator.
You turned me into a ham radio operator.
Whatever.
So anyway, of as much as I think I can probably be a ham radio operator. But anyway, he was like showing me, the frequencies are all around you. When you extend your hand or raise your arm, it's just a way for you to, it's a physical representation of what you're doing spiritually.
Kind of like water baptism.
Yeah, water baptism doesn't save you. It's an outward expression of what's happened.
It's a public expression of what you've done.
Of what you've done, of what's happened inside of you.
So with the raising of hands,
it's a public expression, or like putting up your antenna. I'm transmitting praise. I'm receiving blessing. I'm receiving, answers to what he's got for me, whatever.
Right.
But I think we just need to be like things like that. We need to know what we're doing while we're doing them. It's interesting when you ask him and he shows you.
I'll tell you, coming up in the Baptist church and not going to a Baptist church anymore and going to some of these churches, and it always kind of, I don't know, it don't mess with me in a bad, hard way. But when the worship leader or somebody's like, everybody raise your hands. And I'm like, well, to me, that's kind of like if you want to raise your hands, you raise your hands. You don't have to be instructed to raise your hand.
they're leading you in worship. If your hand is an antenna,
Mm-hmm.
they're worship leaders. They're saying,
No, look, we're not in kindergarten. You don't have to talk to me this way.
no, I'm saying like that totally makes sense. What they're saying.
Okay, I'm not beating anybody up over it. I'm just saying it's kind of like a little weird.
No, but like I know people like that, like you, who won't do it because somebody said so, when all they're trying to do is help lead you in worship.
Okay.
Well, it's no
It
different.
was just a question.
You're a ham radio operator. You teach people how to operate a ham radio or coach them sometimes. You would tell them, if you want to transmit, you're going to have to tune your antenna. That's all they're doing.
Okay. Well, that's an explanation I've never heard. Thank you for enlightening me on that.
Well,
I'm being sincere.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I'm not trying to offend
I'm offended
you.
when people are offended by that because I'm like,
Well,
they're
I wasn't
worship
offended.
leaders. They're saying,
I was just like,
hey,
I don't understand it. Why do you have to be told to do that in that environment? Wouldn't
Well,
that be
nobody's, like,
if it's
holding a gun to your
natural?
head.
No, but if it's natural, isn't it natural?
Is it natural to know to like plug up the antenna if you are new to ham radio? I
Well,
wouldn't know.
That's for new people. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, there's a lot of new people in a worship service a lot of times who don't understand the value of raising your hands. So when they say, hey, raise your hands, worship, like they're just trying to help lead you in a way of worship. They're not holding a gun to your head and saying, raise your hand. I mean, but you had like...
No, I didn't act like anything.
You do, though.
I was just
I've
asking
seen
a
you be
question.
offended by that for years.
I'm not offended by it. I'm just like, really? Do they have to be told to do that? All the worship pastors are screaming at their podcast players right now. Oh, those are phones now. Sorry.
Well, you do. You've always been like, they don't need to tell us to raise our hands. Well, that would be like me not knowing how to tune into a certain frequency that I want to hear on the ham radio, and you saying,
Y'all got a good one tonight.
well,
she's been like this all day, y'all.
you hit a, what'd you call it?
A nerve?
No.
Oh, it's a passion
a
point.
passion point.
It's about to turn into a pressure point. We may need to go to the next topic.
No, we're going to finish right here. If I don't know, because I'm not familiar with this equipment.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, well, I want to talk to somebody, across the globe. The first thing you're going to start talking to me about is, well, how do you use this antenna to transmit or receive this transmission or frequency?
Okay.
And so if you didn't tell me that, I could be spending hours frustrated thinking, well, what's wrong?
Well, you should listen to my old podcast, hamradio360.com.
Yeah, the one that you almost said earlier. No, I think you were going to say Modern Christian Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think it's very valuable what they're saying.
Okay,
They're
I was not discounting it. I was just looking for an explanation. No, I was looking for an explanation.
We need to talk about how to resolve conflict because we're about to have one.
You're just trying to be offended. We talked about that too. I was just simply asking a question.
Well, I was simply answering it.
Well, thank you. I wish we could see your head bobbing around like that parrot in that meme on the internet. We have got to get some cameras.
No.
I'm going to start a Patreon so you guys can help us fund a studio space so we can put our camera. We've got all the equipment. We just need to get somewhere to set it up.
Oh, we're going to be getting
We
somewhere
have a
to set
PayPal
it
button
up.
on the website. We'll take.
Along with your button that says we're about to go charismatic on you.
Is that a button?
You just said that.
Oh, yeah, the warning button. That'd be awesome.
We'll put every time we have to hit we're about to go charismatic on you, you have to hit the Patreon button and
That'll be a fun to my own show.
anyway.
Yeah.
It's just them helping give instruction.
Okay.
Like, we want you to be able to receive and transmit.
Well, I've never thought about it that way. So thank you for helping me understand that. In all sincerity.
I'm glad I could take you to school today.
I'm just hoping your head don't fall off in the floor as it bobbles around like Dwight's on The Office. Oh my gosh, can we do something else here before we brawl on the podcast? I'll talk to my kids before they go to bed at camp tonight.
They're an hour behind us.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You're just trying to get out of this.
Yeah, well, I'm here. There's nowhere to go.
Well, I might just raise my hands and have my own
Well, you go
charismatic
ahead,
moment
you
over here.
pick you up some frequency transmissions there. Worldwide.
Well, we were talking about giving and receiving.
Yeah, we were.
Oh.
And we're giving it away is what we were started with.
Well, that was how we got on transmission.
Yeah. So we
And
covered two
reception.
things.
Now we need to talk about conflict resolution.
How about offense leads to... What did I post? It was really good. Offense leads to unforgiveness. Unforgiveness leads to torment. And torment can lead to death. Pretty stout stuff. Now that's...
I thought we were
Forgiving
going
forward.
like that deep right now.
We're not. I'm not going that deep. That was on the internet yesterday.
Okay, well, I don't see that.
I just spoke to somebody. Somebody needed to see that yesterday, so I shared it with them and the rest of the world. The largest church on the planet, Facebook. I wonder if they raise their hands. No, they raise their thumbs. The thumbs up.
They have short.
They have short antennas. Yeah.
Thumbs down.
Zuckerberg doesn't use a big
thumbs
antenna.
down mean? Antenna in the wrong direction.
I guess you're going the wrong
Cannot
way.
receive. Cannot transmit. I don't know.
Broken wires. So yeah, receiving, giving it away, going all the way back to that. I think sometimes I know for me personally, the way I was taught, everything in that fashion had everything to do with me. Like I had to do all the work. Even though Jesus had said it was finished, I still had to do all the work. And not that the human isn't responsible for giving those things to him. But I was taught that I just had to be good and maybe he wouldn't strike me with lightning. So take this away from me before I get struck by lightning. Or I go home and turn the VCR on again. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt as a much younger individual. So my friend just encouraged her to, she spent years. I mean, she has smoked for a half a century. Okay. And she said she lost count how many times she's asked Jesus to take it away from her. And I remember that. I remember being in that position. And I just tried to encourage her maybe to think about it differently. Maybe the way you've thought about your whole life is, well, it hadn't worked yet. Why not think about it? You tried for 50 years and he hasn't taken it from you yet. Maybe you should let it go and let him have it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So let him toss it into the sea of forgetfulness. Let him recreate you in that fashion.
Or better yet, not like saying your idea is not good. What I'm saying is, I think, did Jesus bear it all?
He took everything.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Then see yourself as he is, and
well, you have to have the mind of Christ.
Yeah, renew your mind to who he is, and
but that's a big step for people that haven't gotten to the point of kingdom understanding that they are not only a son or daughter of God, but also an individual of the kingdom, a citizen of that kingdom.
A joint heir. Yeah.
So a lot of people see themselves as joint heirs. Not everybody sees himself as the child of, because that's too personal. And God's this big white-headed guy sitting in a chair about the size of Abe Lincoln's statue up there in Washington and throwing lightning bolts at the backsliders and them that don't raise their hand in church. And
oh, you had to go there.
I did. But if you think about it, being made in the likeness of God, if we are physically made in the likeness of God, maybe God's not 47 feet tall after all.
Well,
I don't know.
Maybe he's taller.
Maybe he's shorter. Maybe he is. He is. Anyway, so my thought to this is, having been taught certain things in church, whatever denomination you've been taught in, it might be that it wasn't wrong, but maybe it wasn't complete. Or maybe it was just a misunderstanding. Maybe the person that taught you didn't understand, and therefore they were unable to share with you the completeness of God and the infinite way that he loves you, and how when he did take that scourging on that post, that wasn't just for your physical healing, that was everything healing. And then he went to the cross and completed the task. That's why he said it was finished. It was all done. Mm-hmm. So if we're struggling with something like that, and I've struggled with things like that in the past, how much of that is self-imposed?
All of it.
Yeah. So how can we ask God to take something from us if we're holding on to it, which takes us all the way back? We're asking God to take something from us that in actuality we might not be willing to let go. So that was my encouragement to my friend, was to ask God to let you hand it to him. Just let me hand you this. I can't do this.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I need you to
okay. So
let me
it's
give
like
this to you.
Walking around in the maze at family camp.
It was terrible.
When you can't get out, and the only way to get out is like there is no end to it.
Let's talk about that, because we haven't talked about that, right?
I don't know.
We hadn't talked about the maze at family camp.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And we got just a few more minutes before we have to go. So we were at family camp. Like, it was legit family camp. Moose and Mindy were our camp leaders. They were awesome. We had some...
Moose and Miss Moose.
Most women get upset when you call them a moose. So I'm calling her Mindy. Matt and Mindy Holmes. Fantastic people. Anyway, Deer Run Camp. We went to family camp. Spent the weekend at camp, in camp, doing camp stuff. Carla didn't zip line. But anyway.
You didn't either.
Well, I'm cheap. But I'd have paid for you to do it.
I didn't even know we paid for it.
Yeah. Pay for everything, babe.
I just thought it was part of, like, your, I don't know.
So one of the things we did at
family camp.
One of the things we did at family camp, they put us in a maze. They blindfolded us, and
and by the way, don't call yourself cheap, because you're gonna have what you say, and I don't want a cheap husband, so don't call yourself that.
I'm not cheap.
Thank you, because that's what you just said.
Now I need a button that does like that money sound.
Cha-ching.
I'm gonna get me some buttons in here.
We got buttons. It's called pressure points and passion point buttons.
All right. So at family camp, they have us outside doing outdoor activities. It's very hot, by the way, and they tell us that we're going to take you over here, and everybody gets a bandana to tie around your face so you can't see where you're going. Okay, you're blindfolded. Everyone holds hands. Our family, there's 7 of us. We all hold hands together, and they tell us we're going to put you in this maze, and then we need you to get out, find your way out. And they said, take your left hand or your right hand, and there's a piece of wire. Grab that piece of wire. So you feel it feels like a clothesline, what we would use down here. Talking buggies and clotheslines, I don't know if our northern listeners understand, but the line that you hang your clothes on in the summertime, it's a rubber-coated wire. And they said, follow this wire around till you get to the exit. I'm pretty sure
they know where their clothes
Okay, I'm just saying, I don't want to mess Jake up.
They might not know how to about raising their... No, just kidding.
So anyway, Jake knows how to do that. So they tell us, to hold this wire and follow it around and help each other get out. So we start going around, and this line goes down 20 feet and turns left, and goes 10 feet and turns right and back left. And man, it feels like you're all over the place. And you've already been to this point before. You're just
when the trees start feeling familiar and you can't see nothing, you've passed this way before. Like
you're wondering.
This tree I've already passed.
Yeah.
And this route I've already hit my foot on. So, yeah.
So we're in this thing, and we're all blindfolded, and I didn't cheat. I don't know if anyone else cheated or not.
I didn't cheat either.
But all of a sudden, Luke, our second born, says, I'm out. And I'm thinking, how did he beat me out? Sorry, Luke. And then the next thing I know, Carla's out. I'm like, oh no,
And Zoe got out.
this can't be happening because Luke and Carla have already completed this.
Oh,
and
what are you saying?
Because I'm the dad. I'm just the dad. And
yeah.
so I'm going around this thing.
Sounds like to me there's an ego issue.
And my wife's out there, and she's like, I'm out. I made it out. And I thought she was bragging. She might have been.
No.
And then I was like, well, it'd be nice if somebody would help me. And magically,
Your blindfold
my
got taken
blindfold came off. And I'm like, what happened? And they said, you asked for help. Come on. And then you realize that you've been in this 30 by 35 by 15 kind of rectangle area that's not half as big. It feels like looks like it's about the size of two of these bedrooms.
Well, basically, it's like being inside of a boxing ring, walking around and around. Imagine
Around
holding
and
onto
around.
the rope, going
With
around.
your eyes
and around.
closed.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nothing. It was like the biggest letdown of all time was this maze
No,
I
that
had
was
been
when
in.
you found out Santa Claus wasn't real.
Yeah, maybe. That did kind of mess me up.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, not to go back any further. So I got out, and then our kids were in there kind of flopping around. Well, the next thing, they bring two more families and put two more families in the maze along with the rest of our kids that are left over. And I mean, it's just like bumper cars, blindfolded bumper cars. It was sweaty blindfolded
Blindfold bumper car maze.
It was awful.
Bumper body.
And when someone would ask for help, they'd run over and pull your mask off and tell you, come on out, you know. But the key was to ask for help. So how many times do we go about doing stuff without asking for help? What is the whole point of the team building exercise? So it was quite an experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it really reminded me to be more apt to ask for help if it was necessary or needed.
Well, what I'm happy about is the fact that I was willing to ask for help, like right away, which is so typical of a man and a woman, because women will pull over and ask for help. Men will be like, I'll figure this out. To the point that Eli was our last child in there. And I'm like begging him to ask me for help. And this is what he says to me. Mom, get away from me. I'm going to figure this out. I was like, okay, big boy. I'm stepping back. I was just asking, did you need anything? Anything I could do out here? I'm out. Anything you need? All I got from him was, get away from me. I'm going to figure this out.
He's a problem solver and he's dedicated. So
he is dedicated.
But sometimes that can come back and haunt you.
Mm-hmm.
Like Luke wasn't necessarily interested in trying to figure out.
He was just like, I just want to help somebody.
Somebody help. And he was out in like 30 seconds, man. I was like, how did that happen? So, yeah, anyway, don't forget to ask for help.
Probably because we beat it into his head like the whole time he's been gone to camp.
Ask for help if you need.
Ask for help. Ask for help. If you don't know how to do something, ask for help. I guess it finally like sunk in that day,
yeah.
and he was like, I ain't doing this all day. I'm asking for help.
So that was a great example. If you're ever looking to do some kind of team building exercise, or maybe you're a youth pastor, or got a youth at church or something you're working with, or doing a marriage conference or something, and you have the ability to set something like that up, it's pretty impactful.
Yeah.
Especially, I think, for the kids. I mean, it kind of messed me up too, honestly, because I was just mad. I was stuck. I didn't want to be stuck. I want to be the first one out. That's my job.
No, you definitely wasn't the first one out.
Nope. All right. But I'm going to be the first one out of here, because I think we're done.
All right, well,
I've gotten you 3 subjects away from where you want to argue a while ago, so I think we're good. We're safe. We're in agreement.
You're in a hurry to get off here because you already mentioned sex at the beginning of the show. Let's just get to the real point here.
Okay, she said it. All right, we're going to leave you with that, y'all. Got to drive back down the road to the house. All right, folks, we appreciate you listening and just allowing us to be us. And appreciate the good reviews, great reviews, whatever you want to call them. Those always look good on our postings. And when you like, subscribe, and review, and all that stuff that people beg you to do, it does actually help the algorithm some, but that's entirely up to you. So God bless you. We appreciate you listening. I reckon we'll see you next time.
Today's episode is brought to you by Post and Gate. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Marriage Creative. Subscribe and click the notification icon so you can stay up to date with all things The Marriage Creative. To learn more about who we are and what we do, check us out on social media or go to themarriagecreative.com today.